we talked about this 3 weeks ago before the finals started, that if the Pacers were able to pull it off, it would be the most unlikely NBA champion we've ever seen.
Yep.
And entering halftime with Haliburton out, I was sitting there watching the game thinking to myself, boy, if they come back now.
No way, right?
Like, this is the story. This is one of the best stories we would ever have seen in sports if the Pacers were able to rally together and come back in the second half and take down OKC. And then on the flip side, OKC, they're young. They won 68 games in the regular season. Carmen, you mentioned the point differential. They're one of the best teams ever in league history. And it's weird. I think usually I see a team like this, and I'm all about it. I'm like super geek that like this could be the next legendary
dynasty
that
they build.
You know, all of these players are young. How is this going? And I really don't find too much appealing about them. Yeah, their defense is fantastic, but I think the way Shai Gilgeous-Alexander plays is a little obnoxious at times. I also think, which is nothing to do with the basketball court, they probably are the most uncool champion we've ever seen in league history.
Most uncool champion.
Boy,
why do you say that? Because it's Oklahoma City?
No, I think it's the personalities on the team. When you have a ad campaign running with AT&T through the entire playoffs where the three stars are bickering over what they're wearing, it's a little strange.
Okay.
And when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the first thing he does when he wins a championship is to throw some sneakers around his neck and showcase his shoe and then worry about the photo ops. I don't know. Just not for me.
They're very uncool.
They're very uncool.
No, you know what
I don't know if people are talking today about how cool the Thunder are because of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren. I don't know.
It was very tennis of him, right? You win, you put on the watch.
Yeah, like it's
they put the watch on.
They put the watch on, and then they're holding the racket, and they're like, like that's what they do.
Jalen Williams seems like someone of the moment. The others seem like they are cultivating their Instagram grid.
That's an interesting point.
Especially Holmgren.
And SGA are very about aura farming, I think is the way the kids say it now. And I think it comes across as a little lame.
But we might have to get used to that, guys. This might be the generation. This might be a generational thing where we have to get used to it. Could this be all of them going forward?
If the Pacers would have won, Haliburton's a cool player.
Yeah, Haliburton is
like
pretty cool.
Haliburton's a cool player.
But I mean, I also don't think it would have been I think there would have been more of a exuberance when the final.
Yeah, it was a weird. That's another good point. Like it was
kind of were very matter of fact. In like
there was no like the ball up in the air jumping in each other's arms. It was kind of like we won.
Everything with them is very polished and very. It's like
I thought the celebration was subdued a little bit.
Yeah, it's the way that like young Hollywood actors act now, where like everything is so curated for the perfect image. That's how SGA and Holmgren feel to me. I don't know. Like Caruso feels authentic. Yeah. Jalen Williams feels authentic.
I think Lou Dort feels authentic.
Yeah. And Lou Dort was celebrating.
Yes, he was.
You see,
Lou Dort was
Caruso
celebrating.
and Dort and Jalen Williams, they were all celebrating. Where the others were like, "Where's my camera? Oh, can I let me catch a pose? Here we go."
This is all part of their plan.
That's true. Like it's weird. I don't know. There's something about SGA that I don't think captures the nation's attention. Because like, think about this: anyone else at that age who's the scoring title winner, the MVP of the finals, and a champion, people would be raving about this is the face of the league. This is the next Jordan. This guy's going to rival Kobe. No one talks about SGA that way.
I know you watched it. Did you watch the studio?
No.
Have you seen the studio?
No.
It's very good.
It's Apple, right?
Okay.
I should watch that.
Apple.
I heard it's good.
There's the part where Zoe Kravitz is getting on stage to accept an award, and Seth Rogen wants her to thank him because he was like the executive producer on the film. And she's like, "You're not part of my plan. My plan is to go up, get choked up for a little bit,
plan.
Right, and pretend that I didn't write anything down. But when actuality, I've been memorizing this speech for 5 weeks now, so I could say it and kind of not like I didn't plan this, but in actuality, I planned this, and you are not part of my plan." That's kind of what it felt like. Like they knew they were going to win.
Yeah.
And so like this is how we're going to celebrate when we win.
Who's the actress that just won an Oscar and she went nuts on stage? She's in all the Avatar movies. Come on.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, she won for the musical.
Ripping. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's who they're ripping.
Okay.
That's who they're ripping with that.
Yeah.
because people thought that her
Zoe Saldana.
Yes, they thought that her acceptance was not authentic, and that she was because she was borderline crying, but then she started yelling, and it was really weird. People thought that was premeditated.
Yeah, it did seem like I know what you mean about just kind of like the feel from SGA and Chet more than anybody else. It did feel sort of like subdued in a way. I was surprised to see that. It was, and so maybe they're not like the most relatable, or I'm telling you, the bigger story really does seem to be about Indiana's run to this point and Tyrese getting hurt.
Well, and the broadcast wouldn't let you forget about it.
No, they wouldn't.
Show that injury 1,000 times.
Why wouldn't you, though?
It's
the story of the game.
I understand that, but at a certain point, the broadcasters do need to understand that this is Oklahoma City's moment, and someone is winning a championship. I don't care who got hurt and when they got hurt. This is still someone winning a championship game. Someone is celebrating winning a championship at the end of the season.
It does feel like the Haliburton thing was the biggest part of the night. He's so central to this Pacers story, and the run is so improbable. And then he's dealing with this injury going in.
Celebrate the championship.
But that's the story of the game. The game was over the moment he hit the floor.
I'm with Chris. It did feel like that. And I was with Pat, the designer, and Canales. We were on Chicago Sports Sunday last night with Canales on Fox, and we had to tape it. I think because they had the soccer game and they were worried about timing, and so Lou said, "Listen, we're going to record the show," and so we're sitting there before we went on set to record, and we were watching the game, and we saw that happen, and it really did feel like they've got no chance.
Yeah,
what little chance maybe they had anyway, and like you said, he comes out, he hits those 2 long threes from the same spot. You're like, man, could Indiana do this? This is going to be awesome. We're like, let's hurry up and tape this so we can all get out of here and go watch the end of this title game that might be epic, this Game 7. And it felt in that minute, you felt devastated for him. You're like, that sucks. This game's over. And then it immediately, to me, kind of begs the question about, at what point do teams with players as good as Haliburton and as important to them as Haliburton, with these crazy calf strains and these calf injuries, start saying, we're not taking the chance. Every time I bring that up, I get an immediate, there's no way. You got to live in the moment. You're playing for a championship. But we saw it with KD. We saw it last night. We see it happen a lot. Guys are nursing calf injuries, and then bang, it becomes a season-long Achilles injury. And it feels like they just kind of, I don't want to say threw away. That's not the right way to put it. But it feels like now, next year, where they would have been one of the favorites in the East, you don't give Indiana much hope, and the Pacers are all the way down to 12-1 to win the Eastern Conference next year.
It is official. Shams Charania reporting on ESPN.com. Tyrese Haliburton sustained a torn right Achilles tendon in Game 7. So it is official now that it is a torn right Achilles. Yeah, Carmen, I understand what you're saying. I also feel like you do have to live in the moment because there's nothing you can predict about the future. Yeah. You could say we could be one of those teams next season. You hold Haliburton back in Game 6 and 7. You lose this series in Game 6 because I think him and Carlisle from the jump saying that he's playing had a lot to do with the way they came out in Game 6 and just steamrolled the Thunder. I don't believe in that because I don't think you can project out a perfect ending for next season to get back to that point.
That's true.
And I think so many different things could go wrong in that setting. I said it to a buddy. I texted before Game 6. I go, there's 2 ways this is going to play out. Haliburton's going to play in Game 6 and the Thunder are going to win. Or he's going to play in Game 6, he's going to pop his Achilles, and the Thunder are going to win the championship. And that's exactly how the series played out because I think what would have happened last night if Haliburton stayed healthy or continued playing, the game was going to be tight. Maybe it goes back and forth a little bit. You get to the final 6 minutes of the game, and I think the Thunder were going to get tight, and Haliburton is the alpha for the Pacers, and I would have felt confident in the Pacers figuring out a way at the end, like they have so many different times in this playoff series and run. I would have liked their chances. So I think you have to go for it.
It's easy to say because, like Chris started, we're not Pacer fans. We have no dog in the fight. But if
the Pacers are never going to get to this point again.
But my point is that
let's be realistic.
They might not have.
If they would have lost that game by anything less than 10 points and Haliburton hadn't played, this show in Indianapolis would be going off on the entire Pacers organization for not having him out there. Yeah. If you are healthy, you play. Like,
Well,
I understand
he
the risk.
wasn't healthy,
I guess
though.
you don't.
No,
Right,
okay,
that's the
but
thing. He wasn't really healthy, but
he was healthy enough to play in. He played in Game 6. If you played in Game 6, you're playing in Game 7. Like, there's no. You would have had to hold him out for both games.
Well, yeah. The question is holding him out in Game 6.
that's
No,
exactly
I know.
right.
And if he can go, you go. And he was able to go, and they forced a Game 7, and he was playing really well to start. And you can't predict injury. It could have happened in Game 6. It didn't. It might not have happened in Game 7. You have to give them a chance because there's no, like we've been saying, there's no guarantee. Even though they might have been, a high favorite to get back, and because they're playing in the East and it's not that great, it doesn't matter.
Jason Tatum's already out.
You
next
never
year.
know if you're going to be able to get back to this position
you're
again.
right,
You have
you're
to
right.
play.
I mean, they're going to
you're
give
right.
$500 million to Miles Turner in the offseason. I mean, this team is like, it's not going to happen again. Like,
They might not get
it's
this
nice
close
to
again.
say, but I don't think that's. I mean, where are the Heat from a few years ago?
Yeah.
An unlikely team to get to the finals. They ran on that hot run from Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
They're
And now
not,
look.
Yeah,
Look,
it's
2 years later. Look
it's
at
gone.
like the way how
Jimmy's
bad,
gone. The whole thing
looks different.
Right. Like I don't think
Yeah.
it's likely for them to get back.
You're
Oklahoma
probably right.
City, on the other hand, I think it's very likely that they're in these conversations each and every end of May, early June.
Yeah, with the
Things
threesome that they
possible.
have, yeah. All right, so what are your takeaways from last night? Is it odd that it feels like if Haliburton and the losing team is more of the story? Is there something that's not as compelling, rich, as likable about this Oklahoma City Thunder team? Let us know your thoughts from the NBA Finals last night. 312-332-3776. NHL, NBA now over. We squarely focus on baseball, and before you know it, training camps are going to be open.